Okay, so good evening everyone and a very warm welcome. And my name's Karen and good to be with you this evening. And I'm going to be speaking on this topic of time management tips. And so yeah, in terms of this topic, before we actually start, I think it's a great opportunity actually to also make you aware of the wonderful aspect of meditation, which is wonderful with regards to making the best use of your time. It can help just calm things down and recenter you and bring about more clarity of thinking, and which also is ultimately going to save you time. So if you'd like to join me in just a couple of minutes of that, I think it's a really nice way to kind of introduce this session. So just sitting comfortably wherever you are and just sitting with your back straight. And as you do, just start by gently bringing your attention inside. And from within, just become aware of how your body is feeling right now, and also aware of how you're feeling. And it might appear that you're all stirred up from everything of the day, from everything that's happened. And that's absolutely fine. And now what I'd like you just to consider is as if all of that is like particles of sand that have been stirred up in a glass of water. All those thoughts, those feelings, those emotions. And just as if it was bits of sand in a glass of water, all shaken up, gradually that would all settle, wouldn't it? So just let all of that settle in your mind. Everything from the day. Sense your body relaxing, sense everything unwinding inside. Enjoying calm and clarity returning to your mind. Letting your feelings become peaceful, calm. Okay, thank you for that. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of introduce it with that little meditation, and of course that's something that you could also take away as a tool from the session. And I'll speak a little bit from my own personal background as well with meditation with regards to this in a little while. But we are going to be covering various different aspects of time management tips, especially with regards to the kinds of situation that we're in right now, or working from home, and how to really make the best of that, and how to steer away from our own time wasters. And also, you know, just some essential tools for time management as well. So I think it's also important to also mention, especially with a topic like this, which is that it overlaps, I feel, with a lot of other things that we offer at Inner Space. And some of those things are, it could be, let's say my self-esteem is low, and I become aware of that, and I become aware of how I'm saying yes to everything when I'm already really overloaded, and I actually can't, I can't actually complete what I've already got on. So, if that's the case, it could be that I have self-esteem issues, and if I started addressing those, that would rectify a lot of that time management aspect. And so it's not necessarily all about time management. It could be, the way that I respond to things, and that I'm always looking on the dark side of things, and how things are not going right, and how things should have been so much better, and there's a negativity there, and that's something that actually takes away a lot of my time and my thinking patterns, because I waste a lot of time going over things like that. Or maybe I'm a real worrier, and if that's the case, then something like our Thinking More Positively session would be of real use. And so I'm not going to be going into the depths of those kinds of areas, but I did want to touch on them at the beginning, because it definitely crosses over with what we're exploring this evening if you want to enhance your ability to work with time better, and really get the best out of your life, and feel at your best in your life. Just as the tool of meditation I mentioned, or if it's stress that's a real concern for me, I think this Thursday we have a session that's really exploring that, and certain strategies around that can be really, really useful if that's something that I find I get caught up in, and it just uses a lot of my time up, and I can't function effectively because I'm stressed and wound up. So so just to kind of cover that off there. And I think also another area that's important for us to explore is actually about our our relationship that we have with time. And I always think an interesting way to acknowledge what a relationship is like. So if somebody is speaking about somebody else, and how they talk about that person would be a major giveaway in terms of the harmony that's in that relationship, the quality of the relationship they have, or how much they value that person. All of those kinds of things would give an awful lot away. So you might want to start asking yourself now, what are some of the things that you find yourself saying about time? And I'm going to ask you, just a couple of questions to think about. So do you find that it's mostly negative? Do you find you have anything positive to say about time? And if so, what would that be? And so, yeah, you might have just given that a couple of moments there to kind of reflect on for yourself. And I'll just kind of fill in the gaps a little bit there. So you might be saying things like, where did all the time go? I don't have enough time. I've never got enough time. I never have any time for me. Or it could be things like, you likely might not be attending this session if you've got all the time in the world, but who knows? So I might not be aware of how to fill my days. But the other part of it could be, I do find that I say, I did this thing and I really enjoyed it, had the time of my life. Yeah. And so what are some of those things I say that about? And so kind of getting a little bit of an inkling there about the quality of the relationship you have. And then also getting a little bit of an idea about what is the kind of relationship that you would like to have, with time. What would you like to be saying about time? And that starts to let us see really where we're headed. And I know when I think about time, you know, in many senses, it's something, isn't it, it's man-made, and it's something that, you know, was kind of brought in really to create order. And I'm sure at the time it was there to create, to really help us actually, and to help us, you know, work with our day in such a way that made it easier for us. But I suppose the other side of it, isn't it, is how much pressure do I put upon myself about time? And so there's a lot going on here, I think, with this whole area of time, of relationship. And so yeah, what kind of relationship do I want? And am I really honouring my time? Am I honouring myself in my life, and with the time that I've been given? Because whatever I'm saying, however I'm experiencing it, what we're actually really talking about here is our lives, isn't it? It's your life, it's my life. And so I really want to be able to have a good life when it comes down to it. And so another place to start to look at is, on a daily basis, what are the things that I do for myself to feel good within my life? And I know for myself, before I started exploring a lot of these ideas or strategies or tools or meditation, before any of these kinds of things, when I looked at my life, probably the one thing that I was doing before was exercise, but I probably wasn't doing a lot more than that. And so when you start to look at it, you know, there's probably a lot that we can do here to really help me have that kind of joie de vivre, yeah, that's going to make a difference to the whole approach that I have to my day. And so you might want to start thinking about, what is it for you that creates your joie de vivre? Yeah, and so what I'm talking about there is, you know, it's the French, isn't it, version of saying your joy of life. What brings about your inner happiness? What brings about, what gives you joy? And what is it that, you know, that gives you that sense of wonder, actually? You know, so, I mean, see, some of these are kind of words I'm using, or it could be contentment, or, you know, or really deep feeling of, you know, I really love this life that I have and that I'm creating for myself. And so, yeah, kind of connecting to it, you know, in a way that those words, how I connect with them. And so kind of really asking yourself, you know, what does that really mean for you? And I know for myself, and this is what I was kind of mentioning earlier, that I know for myself, one of the aspects that's really helped me bring this joy of life about for me has been the tool of meditation, and how that's kind of really helped me. I suppose in a sense, it's kind of given me, you know, what I might have gone out on a Saturday night for, or what I might have, you know, wanted from a holiday. And it's kind of really enabled me to access that within myself in order to really bring that and emerge that into my day-to-day life. And that's something I have, you know, chosen to actually do on a daily basis, because I really see the benefits of it and I really see how it fuels things. And so on a time management level, I'm putting that in the box of what's really urgent and what's really important to me on a daily basis. And in doing so, I continue to reap the benefits of that in my life, and you know, all fingers crossed, I would hope to be able to continue to do that. Now for some other people, I'm not saying meditation's for everyone, but I think just finding out what it is for you is part of the process as well. I know for me, I tried out different types of meditation before until I came across what I came across here in Space, which really like opened things up, opened self-awareness up on a whole different level for me. For other people, it could be exercise, you know, it could be going for a walk, it could be prayer, you know, it could be mindfulness, it could be so many different kinds of things. But I think once you start to know what it is and start to give that more time on a daily basis, the more that you'll bring that alive, you know, into your day. And I know for me, I found the best time to do it is early in the morning. And why early in the morning? Well, because in a sense, I have to fit this in before everything else. And if I don't, I know that it's so easy for other things to become a priority. Not necessarily my priority, but maybe the priority of other people's, and the priority perhaps of my workplace. And so yeah, if I'm going to be, you know, in a sense creating that space, it's going to have to be before all of that happens. That's my own personal perspective on it. And obviously you may have a different timetable, you may have different hours that you work and you do things, and so it's to kind of really look at it and really look at what really works for you. I know one of the interesting things that I will say on this, and where it makes a difference to really bring that joy, that joie de vivre to life within you and within your own life, is that you do need to make space for it. It isn't going to happen if you don't do that. We have lots of people attending our sessions and hearing what we share, and so and it's really those people that I hear back from that would say things like, you know, I've practiced this, I do this regularly in my daily life. And they're the people that I would say where they really feel like, you know, yeah, it's life-changing, and it's because they've put that attention and effort into it, and they've also reaped the fruit of that. Okay, so when I value myself, when I value my life, when I give it that time and I put in that attention, it will completely reap the fruit, and it will help, in a sense, baseline my day in terms of how I want to go at my day. And that can be the thing that I can, you know, draw my energy from through the day, or it can be my touchstone, you know, to really come back to that and recognize that that's what was really, but I'm living the life that I actually really want to be living on that level. Because let's face it, you know, as when the day gets going, there's lots and lots of different challenges to face, and there's lots of things that happen that we were not expecting, and so to also help with that inner resilience, yeah, very powerful to be giving myself that opportunity to refuel, to recharge. And so, yeah, I'm going to talk now about some of the approaches that we can take with regards to helping ourselves, you know, from this whole kind of working from home side of things. And again, I think it's part of looking after yourself well and looking after how you're going to go through your day. And one of the key things I know for me, on top of what I've shared already, and what you know, just as you're going to look after what goes on in your mind and how you want to approach things on that level, it's also to, on the physical side, you know, to be looking after the physicality of my body. And so for me, that means things like eating well, eating healthy, eating food that's been prepared. Usually, again, for me, I'm an early riser, and have really wasn't always like that at all, but have kind of learned that that's a really beneficial approach for me. And so completely, if I can do it, you can do it. And the other one, yeah, so with that healthy kind of approach to food, and especially now at the moment, I'm still kind of choosing not to kind of go out shopping loads. And so for me, you know, I will go out and I will stock up once a week usually, and pretty much get everything I need. So in that one go. And so part of that picture is meal planning for that whole week. So as much as my fridge shelves can handle, really. And in doing so, it also frees up my headspace then, because I know that, you know, on these days I'm going to be cooking this, I'm going to be making that. And so it's a case of just, you know, after I've done my meditation, it is a case literally of kind of getting up and starting on that cooking. And in doing so, all that good energy has been really well utilized, and that goes into the food, because, you know, when we're thinking, we're feeling, we're creating vibrations, we're creating energy, and so all that good energy goes into the food, and that's, you know, part of the parcel that's going to be sustaining me through the day. And I think it kind of, I suppose for me, it harks back to being a child as well, actually, where you know, your parents or your mum, if it's in my situation, your mum would cook you your meals, and that was a lovely thing, a lovely sustaining thing to have somebody do that for me. And now I'm in the position where I'm the person that needs to do that for myself, and have been like, it's been like that for a long time, and so it actually feels like that. It feels like a gift, you know. So when I reach lunchtime, it's great not to be kind of rushing around and thinking, you know, I've only got like 20 minutes to kind of scramble something together, and then kind of, you know, making this half satisfactory like food, and then, you know, wolfing that down to kind of fit it into a lunch break. And so that actual lunchtime becomes the time where it's kind of, you know, drop the tools, put the tools down, and have that quality time where you can eat comfortably in a relaxed way, mindfully. Often I'll eat with my flatmate, and we'll have a little bit of a chat, and then we'll have some quiet time as well. And so all of that, so yeah, it actually really makes it a very enriching time, and a really revitalizing time during the day that starts to then energize the rest of the day. And all of that as well, I think, is, for me, it helps me create focus during the day. So I'm not having to think about how am I going to be squeezing this in, or how am I going to be able to make this happen. So it actually helps me carve up my day and have clear breathing spaces, which again is really important to put that fresh energy back into yourself and your mind, and how one's going about the day. So meal planning, cooking on the day, yeah, really works for me. And I think another aspect, yeah, is exercise. Now, I have to say, I can't pass on with all flying colours on this one. I do exercise about 3, sometimes 4 times a week, but not every day. I would, given the situation that I'm sitting so much right now, I think it would be really beneficial if I did do. And I it is an aim. I'm working on it. I'm definitely better than I was a little while ago. But I have also played around with different things. So I'm happy to share some of those things that have kind of worked along the way. And so right now where I'm working, we have like an exercise class that we do together. And that's really working, really enjoying that. And it's fun to have fun like that with your colleagues. So that could be something, you know, I don't know whether your workplace can, you know, do that kind of thing, but I know I've found it really, really helpful. Another thing has been doing like a Zoom kind of dance with your friends, and having that at a certain time during the day. We had that going for a while, and then it just got a little bit too, yeah, a bit too feeling like it was a bit contrived. But once every now and then you could have your own dance off wherever you are, and it's a great way to move around and especially move those hips, and also have fun, and also again, you know, revitalize that feeling of happiness and joy, and bringing that energetically, yeah, on that physical level into your body, and getting away from just sitting still. And yoga, so there's wonderful things that are on there, easy to get to on places like YouTube, that kind of thing. And so yeah, so lots of different kinds of opportunities. Again, I think none of this really happens, I'll speak for myself here, if I don't schedule it in. So it has to be part of my schedule. I have to carve out time in my diary where that time is being given to that, and it's not being given to something else. And so so yeah, that's my takeaway, one of my takeaways this evening, to kind of look at how I can get that into every day, not just you know, a good number of times during the week. Another aspect of this whole kind of working from home and making the best part of your day and time is have a set day where you, and especially because we're at home much more now, have a set day when you do your cleaning, you do your chores. And I know for me, I actually really like to kind of get it all done in one or across 1 or 2 days max, because for me, I like that because it frees up the rest of the day. And of course, you know, it's definitely about having the habit of orderliness and wiping things down after you're done, and especially when we're living at home, we're in the same place all the time. I'm happy to say this, I've really improved my orderliness skills, and yeah, it feels really, really good. And so it's things like, you know, if you're done kind of working, like tidying things away. If you're done in the kitchen, it's like wiping things down, tidying things away. And pretty much if I can do it there and then, all the better. Because again, it's like, it's about creating breaks in here. So where I've had that focused attention and I've cleaned up the act in a sense there and then whatever I now give my attention to, I am fully present for it. I'm not thinking, oh, I've got to do the dishes in the kitchen. Oh, I've got to do this. Oh, I've got to do that. Oh, I left all that stuff out there. And do you see? And so, yeah, I really find it just cuts all of that. And so, it really helps create more focus. And where there's more focus, I'm using my time better. So what else did I want to talk about here? So yeah, there's another aspect to this as well, and it's about being clean and clear with yourself. And for me, it's things like when I log on in the morning, it's about checking, you know, what time I'm logging on, and really respecting that, okay, I'm going to work this amount till my lunch break, and I'm going to work this amount after my lunch break, and I'm going to work focused, you know, and really put my attention into it, so that my conscience is clean and clear. So once I've done my time, I want to be able to log off. Yeah. And that's it, because you were really focused, you really used your time well. And so yeah, that kind of checking in with my logging on and my logging off times, because it's so easy when you're at home, you know, to think, well, I'm not really doing anything anyway, I might as well just carry on working right now. But ultimately, those kinds of habits, actually, again, they really over a long period of time, they can make you like a workaholic, where you're giving, that's becoming your be all and end all. And so really, it's really important to look at my whole day, and if you know, and look at how balanced it actually is, because I know for myself, it's all part of feeling like I'm honoring my life. You know, I'm honoring my time. I'm honoring my responsibilities. I'm fulfilling on those levels. But there's that balanced picture, and there's also time for those little bits of creativity. And so for me, it might mean in terms of my own personal reflection or writing, or for, you know, for you it might mean something similar, or contemplation, or it might mean you know, striking up a hobby that you've wanted to give attention to for a long time. This could be the perfect opportunity, because you know, we obviously don't have the commute time, and we could make more of the time that we actually do have. And another kind of part of that picture as well is definitely the whole kind of saving time piece, but also the wasting time piece. And so I really need to be very honest, yeah, with that time, you know, and actually what it is that I'm doing with that time. And so I'm going to speak right now, I think, about that wasting time bit. And so where do I, and again, it's personal, yeah, so where do you feel that you waste time? And it might be to do with, well, what are some things that I really want to be doing, I'm not actually doing them? Why aren't I getting time to do those things? And so looking at what gets in the way. And you know, I could find that things like I just get distracted, I look at my social media too much, or I look at the news too much. And so wherever you're saying or have the feeling, or your conscience is biting, and there's that inclination, this is too much, look at how, you know, what you could do to kind of counteract that, to find a solution. And one of the things that we chose to do in our house was actually, and again, I'm not 100% on this one yet, so I can't hold my head up high completely yet on this one. But is actually to have the habit of turning the Wi-Fi off at 8 o'clock. And I'm up to my data right now, so I can't do that either. So, but that can be really helpful, because I know what it started to do for me. It gave me the time to go, right, well, that's it really. You know, I'm kind of done really, and I'll do my writing and things in the evening, and looking at how the day went, and looking at how I can go about things differently, all of that. And then, you know, I was finding that I can go to bed earlier because I'm kind of done here. And so it actually really kind of creates some more spaciousness inside. And so, yeah, you might want to also look at that too. And yeah, that whole other part of that picture as well is about, you know, am I getting enough sleep? We had a whole seminar devoted to this recently, and it was really good actually. And so you might want to kind of think about, you know, that, and I've just got a couple of tips to share from that, and they really struck me. And one of them was that maximum amount of sleep we actually really need is 7. And that was interesting, and I think there was a lot of beliefs out there before that it was different. But anyway, the speaker, she'd really done her research on this, and so it kind of felt right to me personally. again, you know, you do what feels right for you, but I thought that was a really interesting number. And then the other one was that the minimum amount of hours that we need is 4 hours. Now, for me, 4 hours doesn't feel quite enough. And she said, if we go any lower than 4 hours, we're going to get into sleep deprivation. And so, yeah, you're kind of on the cusp there, if that's your, you know, if that's what you're getting. And so, yeah, I need to kind of definitely check that I'm getting enough sleep. And all of that definitely falls into that whole kind of time management piece of, you know, am I working too long hours? Am I doing too much? You know, am I trying to do too much all the time? And am I heading to burnout here? Because if I am, I really need to be calling that out. And so let's start having a look at all of this side of things as well. And so, yeah, I'd just like to speak a little bit about that. And so if you find that you're in a situation where you have got too much on and it really is affecting perhaps your resilience levels, and I think it's really important at times like that, because it can get quite emotional, is to actually start being objective about it and start, you know, noting your hours, noting your logging off times, noting your breaks, noting the things that are really eating your time up. And then once you've kind of noted some of that stuff down, to then go to the key people that can make a difference to all of that. And that might be your boss, it might be your colleagues, but to have, you know, an objective conversation around that, you know, with regards to what, you know, it isn't really working, you know, you can't keep going like this, you know. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, I think it's good to increase your capacity to be able to stretch yourself and, you know, use your time more focused and make better decision making and have that as part of your own personal growth strategy. But at the same time, if it all gets too crazy and, you know, you're working, you know, silly hours and it's been going on like that for a long, you know, for like over 2 weeks or something like that, then you're kind of heading into a really difficult situation where you know, your body will start to, you know, give you signals that this is really not good right now, and especially if there's a little bit of stress in that, which, you know, it would be likely. And so, yeah, to, you know, to not expect that of yourself is actually really, really helpful long term, you know, for your own well-being. And so, yeah, to call that out with the key people from an objective perspective. And I'm going to just share some really obvious kind of time management tips around this as well, which are things like, you know, to make it easier for myself, do I do things like a to-do list? And that could be really, really helpful. And they say, you know, that if you try and keep hold of 5 things in your mind, perhaps that you need to do that day, any more than that, and it's going to start to stress you out. And so if, yeah, keeping a list is a really helpful thing to do, just so that I can have something to refer to. And also for me, like if I'm in a meeting and, you know, somebody's saying something, I need to kind of be noting those things down that are my actions I'm taking away, and in the same place rather than all different kinds of places. And so whether you want to do that online or there's lots of online tools for, you know, I'm not going to name anything, but you can obviously research those easily, you know, for to-do lists. Or it could be, you know, just a simple notebook. But the real benefits of a to-do list is actually when you look at that to-do list and you look at it as a prioritization tool. And what I mean by that is, you start to make decisions about what's on it. You don't let the to-do list rule you. No matter how long that to-do list is, you just recognize, you know, what are the key things that you need to do by a certain time. And let's face it, you know, we're always going to have a to-do list to a certain degree. And so if I can work with my to-do list like that and it looks like it's realistic, then great. You know, even though, you know, the key things that I'd want to be giving attention to are the things that are urgent and important. And they could be things that if I don't do this now, it's going to, you know, today, and earlier on in the day, ideally, that it's going to have implications and there's going to be some form of loss involved, whether it's people's time, whether it's financial, you know, there'll be some form of loss involved in it if you don't do it. And so that's a good marker, really, yeah, for what's important and urgent. And really that's also where I would want to be putting my own joie de vivre, as I mentioned at the beginning. What's really important to me and valuable to me, what's going to be making the difference. I want to be, you know, just as I'm going to be ticking off those key things during the day, I want to have started with my joie de vivre. And then to look at, you know, what's important, but it's not urgent. And those could be perhaps your number twos, you know, your number ones could be your urgency and importance. Your number threes could be something potentially that doesn't have to be done today. It's not urgent, it's not important. Yeah, and so I could postpone it. Now, I would like to just speak briefly right now on one of the key things, one of the key obstacles actually, I think, to time and how we go about it, and it's procrastination. Procrastination is a killer, and really, as much as you can, I would say, become someone who strikes the, it's an English phrase, which is strike the iron while it's hot. What it means is do it now. You know, or if you want the Nike slogan, just do it. And if you've got anxious feelings, there's a method out there that really helps. It's a mindful, kind of a bit more of a mindful practice, but you count down in your head 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you go into, and as you're counting, you go into the motion of doing it. And it's really to kind of cut away that time, that energy that procrastination drains from you. So in a sense, I want to be able to save time on that procrastination. So if that's your habit, start cracking away at that habit today as you come off this call. If I've got a lot going on, to chunk it down, you know, rather than thinking there's a huge mountain to climb, just look at, well, what if I split all of this up? What does that look like? What do I do first? What do I do second? What do I do? Yeah, and look at it like this. And so, yeah, this whole, and if I could sum this up this evening, I'd be summing it up in terms of, you know, give value to yourself and your joie de vivre. That's going to help boost your energy into the whole day. Plan and prep your meals. And plan when you do things. And you know, in a sense right now, I don't think I've ever had a time right now when I felt like my life has an opportunity to have the most order. And so if you like order, then great, you know, and then if you don't like order, then have some spontaneous time, build that into your day, because that will be partly connected to your joie de vivre. Okay, so I'm going to finish here, but I just want to make, have just a couple of minutes meditation with you and just let you know we've got our stress less session happening this Thursday, and on Friday night we've got our Friday night talk, and so do check those out. The stress less is on at that's at 6 o'clock. Our talk is going to be on at 6:30 on Friday. So I'd like to just spend a couple of minutes with you, just having a little bit of a meditation focus. And it's really around, what are you really taking away from the session? So I'm going to guide you through it. So just sitting comfortably. And just bringing your attention inside. And just letting yourself relax. Letting all the muscles of your face relax and soften. Your shoulders, your neck, and all the way through your body. And now just on reflecting after all of the different things that you've heard this evening, what's that one thing that will make all the difference? And now hold that in your mind like a precious gift that you're taking away with you. And now give yourself a few moments right now of looking at what a difference it's going to make for you. Of how you're going to feel as a consequence of that. And of how your time feels. How much better. Now imagine you were doing that over the next 6 months. How good does that feel? And how natural has it become? And now you can go away and you can take that with you. Thank you so much for joining us, and see you again at some other point in time. All the best. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.